to A Year of War and Peace. I'm your host, Brian E. Denton. A Year of War and Peace is a daily, year-long, chapter-by-chapter reading of and meditation on Leo Tolstoy's epic novel, War and Peace. In these videos and podcasts, you'll be treated to a free reading of one chapter per day of the novel, plus a reflective essay I've written individually tailored to that day's chapter. These readings are offered for free, though if you'd like to support me, you can do so in one of three ways. First, you could purchase my ebook, A Year of War and Peace. It features the entire novel, plus all of my reflective essays, and it's only $2.99 on Amazon.com. You could also become a patron at patreon.com/Brian E. Denton. If you sign up there, you'll receive a sonnet once a month, plus a link to an ebook of my collected sonnets. Finally, if you like, you can make a one-time donation to my PayPal account. The email there is brianedenton@gmail.com. You can also use that email to contact me. I'd be happy to hear from you. Your support is greatly appreciated. Today's reading and reflection is from Chapter 360 of War and Peace. Chapter 360. History examines the manifestations of man's free will in connection with the external world in time and in dependence on cause. That is, it defines this freedom by the law of reason, and so history is a science only insofar as this free will is defined by those laws. The recognition of man's free will as something capable of influencing historical events, that is, as not subject to laws, is the same for history as the recognition of a free force moving the heavenly bodies would be for astronomy. That assumption would destroy the possibility of the existence of laws, that is, of any science whatever. If there is even a single body moving freely, then the laws of Kepler and Newton are negatived, and no conception of the movement of the heavenly bodies any longer exists. If any single action is due to free will, then not a single historical law can exist, nor any conception of historical events. For history, lines exist of the movement of human wills, one end of which is hidden in the unknown, but at the other end of which a consciousness of man's will in the present moves in space-time in dependence on cause. The more this field of motion spreads out before our eyes, the more evident are the laws of that movement. To discover and define those laws is the problem of history. From the standpoint from which the science of history now regards its subject on the path it now follows, seeking the causes of events in man's free will, a scientific enunciation of those laws is impossible. For however man's free will may be restricted, as soon as we recognize it as a force not subject to law, the existence of law becomes impossible. Only by reducing this element of free will to the infinitesimal, that is, by regarding it as an infinitely small quantity, can we convince ourselves of the absolute inaccessibility of the causes, and then instead of seeking causes, history will take the discovery of laws as its problem. The search for these laws has long been begun, and the new methods of thought which history must adopt are being worked out simultaneously with the self-destruction towards which, ever dissecting and dissecting the causes of phenomena, the old method of history is moving. All human sciences have traveled along that path. Arriving at infinitesimals, mathematics, the most exact of sciences, abandons the process of analysis and enters on the new process of the integration of unknown, infinitely small quantities. Abandoning the conception of cause, mathematics seeks law, that is, the property common to all unknown, infinitely small elements. In another form, but along the same path of reflection the other sciences have proceeded. When Newton enunciated the law of gravity, he did not say that the sun or the earth had a property of attraction. He said that all bodies from the largest to the smallest have the property of attracting one another. That is, leaving aside the question of the cause of the movement of the bodies, he expressed the property common to all bodies from the infinitely large to the infinitely small. The same is done by the natural sciences. Leaving aside the question of cause, they seek for laws. History stands on the same path. And if history has for its object the study of the movement of the nations and of humanity, and not the narration of episodes in the lives of individuals, it too, setting aside the conception of cause, should seek the laws common to all the inseparably interconnected infinitesimal elements of free will. All right. That concludes my reading of Chapter 360, the penultimate chapter of War and Peace. I will now proceed to my reflection on the same. A Year of War and Peace, Day 360. Cause. Few productions of art capture the cataclysmal nature of the loss of faith better than John Updike's In the Beauty of the Lilies. In that novel, Clarence Wilmot, a Presbyterian pastor, rests in his parsonage one hot afternoon and witnesses the cause of his whole world leave him behind. Updike describes it as Wilmot feeling, quote, the last particles of his faith leave him. The sensation was distinct, a visceral surrender, a set of dark, sparkling bubbles escaping upward. Wilmot, woefully ill-equipped to compete in a job market for which he has no discernible skills, is reduced to selling encyclopedias, trading in the causal word for mere words of descriptive explanation. Something similar happens in Tolstoy's exploration of history today. In today's chapter, he abandons his search for the cause of history. That, he concludes, is a question without an answer. His problem with the issue of human freedom leads him to this position. For, as he argues, if every single action is due to free will, then not a single historical law can exist, nor any conception of historical events. So he reduces free will to a manageable infinitesimal amount, so that individual man's action is subject to the same laws and operations as history as a whole. For Tolstoy, then, the object of historical analysis is not the search for an ultimate cause, but rather to set aside the conception of cause and seek the laws common to all the inseparably interconnected infinitesimal elements of free will. The search for a cause is one of the great questions of human life. Just look at how this question moved our characters. Prince Andrew with his moody intellectualism, Pierre with his frenetic mania, Mary in the calmness of certainty. A Year of War and Peace cannot pretend to offer any solutions to this great question. Our goal has always been merely to offer simple secular helps to aid the seeker along her way. Daily Meditation. Whether fate binds us down by an inexorable law, or whether God as arbiter of the universe has arranged everything, or whether chance drives and tosses human affairs without method, philosophy ought to be our defense. Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. All right, that concludes my reading of chapter 360 of War and Peace and also its reflection. Thanks so much for listening. Remember that if you'd like to support me, you can do so either by purchasing the ebook A Year of War and Peace, becoming a patron at patreon.com, or making a one-time donation at PayPal. The links to all that are down below in the show notes. If you'd like to support me further, you could also purchase a book or a movie in my Amazon wishlist. That's also down there in the description, and we'll set up a Zoom call to discuss that book or that movie if you want to. Tomorrow, we're going to be reading and reflecting on the final chapter of War and Peace, chapter 361. I hope you'll join me. Until then, take care of yourselves and others.